Let me see, is my sound working? Hello everyone, we're broadcasting live. I'm live. Robin's silent. She's got a problem at her end.
I'm not sure if it's at my end. Can anyone...
No, I have no sound. It's at my end. What am I doing wrong? Oh, I know what it could be. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Bhante. Can you hear me now? Hello, Bhante. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, now I hear you. I think I know what it is. I did something, didn't I? I did something. Oh, I have to fool with it later. I think I messed something up before. I have to go in mysteries of computers. So we're live, for what it's worth. Just did a Buddhism 101 video. I was thinking it might be good to dial this stuff back a bit and focus more on actual meditation courses, you know? Maybe instead of these live Q&A sessions, I could do more one-on-one. Got a lot of people for one-on-one, but it's funny today, people didn't show up. I think Vanessa's out. She didn't show up. In my morning, neither of my morning people showed up.
Are you sure it's not technical difficulties, Bhante?
Could be. But Anka showed up. And Laszlo as well. 2 morning people just disappeared. Of course, maybe they finished their courses and I've just forgotten and they never took themselves off. So do we have any good questions? Any good questions? We gotta be sort of circumspect. I've been getting complaints that all the questions are just the same old thing again and again.
Okay. Okay, first good question. The 5 skandhas and the 4 frames of reference, are they the same or different?
You know, not to be a stickler, but it's the 5 khandhas because we use Pali. And I don't really get the translation of the 4 satipatthana as frames of reference. Sati doesn't mean reference, does it? Reference. Not really. Sati means to remember, or recollect. They're not the frames of reference. They're the ways, the means of establishing, the means by which we establish or set up or cultivate sati, which means our ability to remember things as they are. Our ability to grasp things strongly. not having a weak or superficial grasp of things, to grasp things deeply and clearly as they are. For Satipatthana, I wouldn't translate them as 4 frames of reference, but I know what you're talking about because I've heard these words before. So the four Satipatthana and the 5 khandhas, they are different only in name and in application. I've answered this question several times. So this is not a very good question for that reason, because people are going to complain and say, oh, it's just the same question all along. But they're basically the same thing. Satipatthana is more of a practical application. Satipatthana is how you put them into practice. You don't practice the five khandhas, but when you practice the 4 Satipatthana, your object is the 5 khandhas.
That makes sense. Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Can consciousness be taken as a meditation object? In other words, being aware of the experience of being aware?
Can what be objective?
Consciousness?
Consciousness. Yeah, sure. Knowing. Good question. Don't get that one that often. I don't think there are many questions left that I haven't answered.
What translation of the teachings of Buddha do you recommend?
Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation.
In today's quote, the Buddha elaborates on the Noble Eightfold Path. I thought Samma Samadhi was one-pointedness of mind, but the quote says perfect concentration is the 4 jhanas. So can you explain what perfect concentration is?
Does he use the word perfect? Perfect is a poor translation. The word is samma, which doesn't mean perfect, I don't think. It means right. Right is a good translation. Proper, perfect is too strong, but right concentration just means, right concentration is that which suppresses the five nivarana, the 5 hindrances. So the 4 jhanas qualify. And anything that is like a jhana will generally be, well, at least on the path towards right concentration. But you have to understand that the Eightfold Noble Path is technically speaking what you attain at the moment of enlightenment. And so it's only for a moment. And in that moment, it's a moment of jhana, but it's lokuttara jhana, in one of the 4 jhanas. But that's technically speaking. So up until that point, you're practicing what is called the Pubanga Magga, which is sort of not quite samma samadhi, but it's cultivating samadhi. So you're getting to that point. And there's 2 ways. You can practice mundane samadhi, which is the samatha jhanas, or you can practice vipassana and slowly build up the concentration until finally, when you enter into the jhana, it's super mundane, because you have mindfulness as well, you have wisdom as well.
Hello, Bhante. I've watched some of your talks about vegetarianism, and I have a question. You mentioned that eating the meat of a sentient being should not be a problem, as that animal has already abandoned their flesh and is no longer suffering. You also mentioned that the meat we're consuming shouldn't be from an animal that is killed for us. In today's world, where market consumption and production are closely intertwined, can we still assume that we've no role in the suffering, killing of the animal whose meat we're buying from a store? Thank you, Bhante.
Oh, it's quite different if someone kills something for you than if they kill something and then you buy it. When you're just getting really, people do this, they get really intellectual and they say, we're intellectual. based on their intellect, they say, well, you're contributing. And so on. It's quite different. If a person says to you, I killed this for you. Well, then if you accept it, then you're not complicit in the killing, but you're doing something that's quite improper. Now, if you go to the market and you buy meat, it doesn't have that sense to it. People don't like it. Vegetarians and people who are animal rights activists say it. They'll argue that it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. They'll argue that it's wrong, and okay, you might have a point there, but it's far less of an issue than if someone kills for you. And that's just actually a line in the sand. There's nothing wrong with eating meat if someone's killed it for you. It's not immoral or unethical. But it's one of these things that's improper, problematic, and it's that way for monks. So for monks, it's improper. For lay people, I wouldn't really worry about it. I wouldn't feel guilty about eating meat, buying meat.
But by buying meat, we provide the impetus for it to continue to be there. How is it different than...
Beings die all the time. Beings kill each other all the time. Why are you trying to fix the world?
Well, how is it different than, we've been talking about fair trade products, and how is it different than just saying, well, why worry about fair trade? I'll just buy anything.
Yeah, there's no need to worry about fair trade. It drives you crazy, though. Why were you making me buy all that fair trade, all those fair trade products? Tomorrow we're hosting the peace group, Hamilton Interfaith Peace Group. And, no, I don't want to give the impression that it's important to buy fair trade. This is all intellectually speaking. I mean, these are interesting issues. And I think by investigating and by representing these products, showcasing these products, it reminds us of these issues, that people out there do really evil things for their livelihood. But I'm certainly never going to say, no, I'll only eat fair trade, or we should all get fair trade.
Is there any benefit to doing that if it makes you feel better about...
Sure. You could consider it a kind of a dana, in a sense. You know? You're wishing for beings to be happy. You're wishing for beings not to suffer. So it's this sort of compassion, love kind of thing. I mean, everyone thinks they're so critical. They're not critical. If you don't cultivate love and don't cultivate compassion, you can still become enlightened. Are they good? Yes. Are they helpful? Yes. So if you want to, go ahead by all means. But to turn around and say, you're evil because you're not compassionate, you're not loving. No. Out of my face, I'm meditating. Love and compassion are not the key. They're not the core. They're not even essential. They're useful, helpful, good. But I've thought this has started. It's really interesting to me lately that how funny it is when people accuse you of being uncompassionate or unloving, and it's like, well, so what? Go away then. You know? It's like, because it's supposed to hurt you. It's supposed to make you feel bad. Gee, I'm not loving. I'm not compassionate. And I imagine when people even hear me say this now, they're outraged. Remember, there was a monk. Did I ever tell you about this big monk who said to me, meditation teacher has to have love, has to be kind. He was screaming. He was red in the face, yelling at me, trying to lecture me on being loving. I mean, the hypocrisy is funny, but even apart from the hypocrisy, it's really weird, you know, like the argument just doesn't stand. You know, if everything I did killed and hurt lots and lots of people, why would it be wrong? You know, here's a controversial thing. If everything I did was instrumental in dealing devastating pain and suffering to other beings, why would it be wrong? Why, Robin? Why would it be wrong?
I think it would be wrong if you did it intentionally.
If I did it intentionally, knowing that it was going to cause harm to others, or you mean intending to cause harm?
Well, if you did it knowing that it was going to cause harm, yes.
Why would that be wrong?
Because you're causing harm.
So what? You see, we have to undermine this first. If we're going to come to any truth, we have to undermine our beliefs and our views and our opinions, because maybe they're all wrong. Maybe it's good to be selfish. You know? Altruism can be a curse. You know, feeling guilty that you're not good enough, or that you're selfish. Feeling selfish because you want to be happy, but still wanting to be happy. Hating yourself because of it. You know? I think Ayn Rand was big on this. She was an anti-altruist. I mean, it's an interesting point. I don't know that I agree with. But why is it wrong? I think if we ask that question, we can get down to what we really mean by ethics. It doesn't matter. You know, it's not wrong because people die or get hurt. It happens anyway. And even if it didn't, you know, it really is no skin off my back. And you think, well, you're so cruel. Well, okay, but so? Then we have to ask, why is that wrong? Why is it bad? You might hate me. You might not want to have anything to do with me. You're just an awful person. I'm like, okay, great. I'll sit around and meditate. Good for you. More time, more peace for me. Don't come around.
Well, I think it kind of works pretty well when people are nice to one another and help each other out. That does seem to work pretty well.
Yeah, there's a good point. But it's still conventional, because if a person is like an existentialist, which is kind of Buddhist in some ways, you would say, well, okay, big deal. It doesn't work out. People yell at me and shout at me. And like in L'Étranger, this book I had to read, he shoots a guy. And then he just goes and confesses it and says, well, you know, I just did it. And he was hanged. He was convicted, tried, and killed for it. And he was like, well, you know, it's just part of life somehow. It was a really weird book. But existential philosophy is kind of like that. It's, you know, so what if and Buddhist philosophy is to an extent like that. You know, harm and pain and suffering and people shouting at me and even hitting me and killing me. It's all just experience.
Well, then,
who cares if people are bad?
Well, then why are the 5 precepts valid, or any of the precepts valid, if nothing matters?
Well, then we start to get into something that's pointed. And I think the claim is that for the most part, if not all entire part, the 5 precepts, the first 4 anyway, are necessitate unwholesome mind state. Now, I think some people would argue that it's possible to kill, steal, lie, or cheat without unwholesome mind state. I think you'd be hard pressed to know that it's possible. But at any rate, they almost all the time, if not all the time, necessitate unwholesome mind state. And that's where the key is. Does it create unwholesome mind states? Eating meat doesn't necessitate unwholesome mind state.
No, I suppose if if it's being given to you, if it's being, fed to you, basically. But
Why doesn't it necessitate unwholesome mind state?
But at the point that you go out and purchase, and you know that your purchases drive what's going to be at that store the next week.
So what? That's not an unwholesome mind state. It's just a thought. Oh, I buy this, more beings are going to die. Oh. Why can't you be like that? Who cares? Beings die all the time. It happens. So I should buy lots, and then lots of people will die. Okay. Maybe that's pushing it. That's probably getting unwholesome. I'm playing devil's advocate,
I know.
but I'm trying to prove a point.
I think selfishness is an unwholesome mind state.
Selfishness.
Yes.
Why? What's unwholesome about that?
Well, when you feel selfish, I mean, just from your own experience, when you feel selfish, that's not really a good, positive feeling, is it? It's kind of an evil feeling.
Sure it is. There's some cake I wanted. I take it. Wanting is bad. No, I'm thinking of actually other things, like it's in my best interest to do this. I should do it. Who cares what it does to other people? It's my best interest. Do this. You know? You want me to teach you, but in my best interest is just to sit and meditate. So I should just sit and meditate. What's wrong with that? I don't know. I mean, I just think we have to be careful what we mean by selfishness. Because if you mean neglecting, you know, cruelty to others, you know, someone comes to you for help and you get angry at them. You know? It's not selfishness exactly, it's what's behind the selfishness. If it's based on anger, that's a problem. If it's based on greed, that's a problem. If it's based on delusion, that's a problem. Arrogance, you know, I'm not going to help you. Who are you? You're a nobody. I only help celebrities or rich people. I'm a big teacher. I'm going to help you. Okay. Because the Buddha told us to be very self-centered. Don't work for the good of another at your own detriment. Someone knows their own good, they should work for it. Sounds kind of selfish, doesn't it? But it's logical. Because you can help and help and help other people. And I wrote an email recently. Why I'm thinking about this. A part of why I'm thinking about this. Someone watched one of my videos. What was the video? On monks not being able to be doctors. I said, are you telling me that if someone was dying, you wouldn't help them? I wrote this out in an email. I think we have to get to the core, because otherwise we have these questions that stem from sort of a vague understanding of right and wrong. Why do you think killing is unwholesome? Buying meat is unwholesome, that kind of thing. You know, it might be unwholesome, but to suggest significantly unwholesome, I'm not convinced, because you know, I have so many things.
I'm sorry. Well, let's just say the reason I'm going to buy meat is because I like it. I don't care that it takes more resources. I don't care that it has a bad effect on, you know, on the world overall. That, you know, I'm just going to eat a bunch of meat because I like it. Who cares about anything else?
I wouldn't lose sleep over that. I'd say there's far more pressing concern. Are you an angry person? Are you a greedy person? Are you a deluded person? Probably got more significant issues to deal with, most of us. I mean, hey, an anagami has trouble, you know, doesn't seem to be able to get a job. An arahant, if they don't become a monk, they pass away, they die. So there's no buying meat for those people. There's no buying food in general. You just won't do it. So, I mean, buying is problematic in general. but it's not something I would lose sleep on. I certainly wouldn't worry about is it meat, is it not meat. People get so obsessed, then does it have a meat base? Or even more, was it cooked on the same grill as meat? Is it genetically modified? I mean, it's absurd.
We always have this picnic at work in the summer, and
I can get on one video. Sorry, go ahead.
we have this picnic at work in the summer, and there's a few vegetarians, and my boss would always flip the burgers with the same spatula, which would drive the vegetarians crazy. So I went and bought a special green one just to use on the veggie burgers. But of course, they are all on the same grill, so it's...
How unwholesome is that? That obsession with this ridiculousness. Forcing your views on others. Really, that's what it is. It's a protest. You go to a barbecue and it becomes a protest. This is where you eat a little bit of meat gristle, meat fat. It's not going to kill you. So what are you doing? You're protesting. That's unwholesome. Not that all protesting is unwholesome. But I can't convince me. I mean, I used to do that. I can't convince me. It's just fun. It doesn't make you friends. It doesn't convince people that killing is wrong. So far removed from actual killing that you're never going to convince people. You're never going to fix problems that way. It's a very slow and roundabout way. One thing is that teaching people not to kill, encouraging people to, not even more than that, encouraging people to practice meditation, cultivate wholesomeness. I mean, it makes people less inclined to kill in general. When you start making people less inclined to kill, well, they affect other people, and there's less inclined to kill, and so there's more vegetarians. That's why vegetarianism is often associated with Buddhism and spirituality, because spiritual people have a desire to kill, and so eating meat becomes less of a thing. But if you want to change the world by being a vegetarian, good luck.
I wasn't referring to changing the world, just being comfortable with your own choices and being aware of the effects of your choices.
Okay. So what is the effect?
Well, you feel better when you do something that's...
I feel fine. I can eat whatever and feel fine.
But you don't go to the store and buy the meat. I don't even think it's the person that eats the meat. I think it's the person that buys the meat that...
I used to buy meat as a Buddhist. A couple years. Tuna. I ate a lot of tuna. Well, fish of different sorts. I was a lot of vegetarian as well.
I've been vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian now, but
So do you feel bad when you eat meat? When you buy meat?
I try to buy and use the least amount of meat that I can without people complaining.
Why?
Well, I just think it's a more wholesome choice to try to limit your meat, because there's just all kinds of bad effects of just eating a lot of meat. Health problems. It's more expensive. It doesn't.
Tom said when someone said he was started eating vegetarian, he said, "Oh, good, you won't get bird flu." Good for you. Basically, he was had a perfectly straight face, but I think he was really playing with them.
And mad cow disease.
Because it was a big thing in Asia at the time, bird flu. Good for you, you won't get bird flu. No, the Buddha said before they killed cows, there were only three diseases in the world. This is in the Sutta Nipata. Before the slaughter of cattle, there were only three diseases in the world. After they started killing cows, over 100 new diseases arose. It's in the suttas. So yeah, health-wise, for sure. But it speaks to a greater problem. Yes, sure. Killing animals and eating meat is ridiculous. It's awful. It's cruel. It's horrible. There's so many horrible things surrounding production, harvesting, killing animals. It's a horrible thing. We should all be vegetarian. Way to go.
Wait, didn't you just say that it didn't matter?
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. It's more like seeing the if you walk this way, you're going to see these landmarks. So I'm just sort of mapping out the landmarks up ahead. So one of the landmarks is people being vegetarian. It's a sign that you're going in the right direction when more people become vegetarian. It's something we should all look at, because if you can't be vegetarian, then you're going to have a problem if and when society goes meatless, if and when we stop killing. But it's not the way to go forward is not to be a vegetarian. That's not a really important step. It's just a landmark. Eventually you become vegetarian because people around you stop killing, you stop killing. Because you're surrounded by nut bars who think vegetarianism is important. You go for a bunch of downvotes on this video.
That was one of the reasons that I stopped being vegetarian, because it felt like I was identifying myself as, oh, I'm vegetarian, like that's a big deal, like that's important. So I stopped being a vegetarian per se, but I still try to eat the least amount of meat that I can get away with without my family complaining about it. I mean, if I tried to give tofu every night, there'd be a lot of complaints. But
yeah, I mean, you have to remember that much of our lives is going to be not ethically charged, but important in the sense of it being a duty, right? So you have a duty to your family, you have a duty to your society, you have a duty to your religion, you have a duty to your culture, all these different duties to your employer, to your employees, and then they become complex. But the concept of not buying meat, the concept of being concerned with the environment, a lot of this is duties. It's the proper thing to do because it's respectful. It's disrespectful to engage in activities that creates unwholesomeness in others. So you buying meat encourages other people in their unwholesomeness. Now that's not really your problem, because you're not intending to do it. You just want to buy the meat. But it's kind of your duty to your fellow man, because you live in a society. These people, if you buy their meat, you're encouraging problems for them. It's the same as if you neglect your children or your husband or your parents. It creates problems for them. It makes them upset. So you're not fulfilling your duty. Anything that you do that causes unwholesomeness in others, you could say it's you've broken your duties. And so of course that leads to this, we're talking about it's chaos, because you're suddenly surrounded by people who are angry and upset. And so, I think for sure, move towards vegetarianism, stop eating meat, stop buying meat. Something. What I want to point out is that it's not unethical. It's not something that you have to be guilty about. Something you should be conscientious. Conscientious about health food. You should be conscientious about the environment. All of these things, they're important things to be conscientious about, but they're not a matter of ethics. Not to Buddhism. These are proper attitudes to have in society, and they might change. Proper attitudes can change. In general, they provide a sort of framework within to build our ethics, build our. That's my thought. I mean, I'm mostly vegetarian as well. I try to live vegetarian. It's something for us to move towards. It makes me feel good. That encourages people to do that. But I would never worry about it or encourage people to refuse meat. I think that just causes sadness and suffering. It's not the way to go. You know, it's two different things to boycott meat and to move away from it. To prefer vegetarianism and to learn to be satisfied with vegetarian food, because a lot of people can't be. They eat meat. To learn to be satisfied without it. That I think is kind of neat, but it's a good austerity. It's wasteful and it's horrific. Other things that happen to animals. Just the idea that we're killing and eating our fellow living beings is really disgusting.
Bhante, your audio is breaking up a little bit.
I don't have magic that I can make that change.
I'm not sure. Just every once in a while it goes out a little bit.
Yeah, it might be my internet. Maybe Aruna's downstairs watching Sri Lankan television.
Oh.
No, I don't know. I don't think he does. He calls his mother, though. Maybe he's calling his mother. Okay, I better go. Do we have more questions? Any pressing good questions?
It actually looks like there's several more questions.
Any good ones? Because we're only looking at good questions.
They're all long questions.
No long questions. It has to be short. It has to be good.
Okay, this one is a shorter question. Hello, Bhante. My motivation to do meditation and other important tasks often dips strongly. At such times, other than reminding myself of avoiding, is there anything more that you'd recommend? The reminding alone does help with awareness, but sometimes the aversion to the task is very strong.
Yeah, be patient. You're not going to fix all your problems in one day. You know, meditate on the aversion. That's it. Not avoiding. Did you say avoiding? You're not avoiding. That's not. You're angry. You're upset. You're disliking. That's what you should focus on. Aversion is anger.
Bhante, how did Moggallana go to hell if he was an arahant? Any attainment above Sotapanna would send one on a good path, no?
He didn't go to hell. He maybe went to visit. I think he went to visit to see his mother. His mother was in hell. But it's different to visit than to live there. Visitors, just visit. Like Dante, you can say, why did Dante go to hell? Well, he didn't. He just went to visit. Moggallana went, or you may be confusing things, because Moggallana, before he was Moggallana, in a past life, beat his parents almost to death or to death, and went to hell for a long time for that. But that was before.
Okay. And here's another meditation question. Hello, Bhante. I've been sitting, and most of the time during the rising and falling of the abdomen, I can focus. But in between breaths during the pause, I have to devise a trick to keep my mind focused, otherwise it will stray. So I say thinking, and then back to rising and falling. According to the instructions in Ajahn Tong's book, according to the instructions from Ajahn Tong's book, I am trying to follow it. Is it correct to devise tricks to get over pauses until I'm more developed? I think I know the answer already. I'm just a little frustrated because I seem to stray off almost every time I sit.
Kelly, can you come on our live hangout? Probably not. Be neat if we could get people on the live hangout.
Yeah, it would.
And here's the link. This is the question of the night. You can come on. We can talk. I just put the link in the chat. But otherwise, Kelly's someone who's meditating with us. Oh, it's a meditation question. That's why I liked it.
It looks like Kelly has just started.
Someone from Thailand, it looks like. Is that a Thai flag? Yeah. Is this someone who's gone to Jamtong? Sounds like it. They've gotten Ajahn Tong's book, which probably... It's not Ajahn Tong's book. It's a translation of some of the things he taught. I guess it's his book. Yeah. Right. You have to devise little tricks or else your mind wanders, right? Mind strays. Okay. So, is your state of mind, the nature of your mind, is it stable or is it unstable? Can you predict? Is it predictable? Is it constant? The answer is no. This is showing you that your mind is chaotic, unstable. And then the second question, is it pleasant or is it satisfying? The answer is no. This is showing you that your mind is chaotic. Is Kelly?
Yes.
Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
You just have to...
Second question, is it pleasant? Yeah, you have to turn off the YouTube video probably.
Oh.
Can't watch YouTube and be on the Hangout at once because you're on YouTube now.
Okay, sorry. I'm new to this.
That's okay.
Welcome.
Exit out YouTube. X out.
Yeah, don't need YouTube, just a Hangout.
Can you hear me now?
I can. That's awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Have you practiced at Jamtong?
No, I haven't practiced at Jamtong, but I have the book that someone gave.
You live in Thailand?
Yes, I live in Bangkok.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
the book that
somebody
gave me.
What's the title of that?
Path to Nibbana.
Wow, that's an old one. I don't even think they put that one out anymore.
It's very old.
I'd be careful of that one. I'm not sure that it's Ajahn Tong because there was a teacher under Ajahn Tong who passed away now. But he was trying to pass off some of his teachings as Ajahn Tong's teachings, and still good stuff, but yeah, that's an old one. Yeah, it was published by an old... I know, they put his picture in it. But, I know the book, I know all those books, but they were never really exactly Ajahn Tong. There's Ajahn Tong's teachings in there, but there's also a lot of other stuff put in.
So yes, I have been meditating, but most of the time I'm not in front of a computer.
Have you read my booklet on how to meditate?
I've looked at your booklet on online.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing. What you're experiencing is impermanence, suffering, and non-self. This is inherent in experience. This is reality. It's what we don't get about reality. It's what we learn through insight meditation. So the fact that your mind is wandering is perfectly reasonable, perfectly natural. It's the way it is. It's the nature of your mind. Trying to stop that, trying to find a trick or a way to make that not happen is delusion. It's like trying to stop Niagara Falls. It just doesn't happen. It's futile. So you could find a trick, and it would work for a while, but eventually you'd just have to let go and it'd be back where you started. So it's not the way to practice. The way to practice, the only reason we're watching the stomach rising and falling is to get our minds into the action, to be able to see that experience of the mind wandering. We want to be able to see that. What you're seeing is what we want to be able to see. That the mind is impermanent, unstable, it's unsatisfying. You can't make it right, and it's uncontrollable. It doesn't belong to you, it's not you, it's not your... And so that's what you're seeing. As you practice more and more, it's frustrating, but that's the thing, is eventually you become less frustrated because you become more familiar with this nature. Your mind wanders, you bring it back. It wanders again, you bring it back. You get frustrated, you note that frustrated. It wanders again, you bring it back. Until eventually you let go, and you see that's just the way it is. It's not, I can't fix this. And you let go and fly away.
Okay.
So yeah,
You see
no
what
trick.
happens? Just 15 minutes and I'll fall asleep. So I'm try over and over again to try to last through that, just the seconds of pauses, but it happens every time, at almost every round. I will fall asleep, or and so I can't.
To do with your daily life, your mundane life. You have to make an effort to be mindful when you're not meditating as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are aspects of our life which tire us out, and so you have to sort of adjust those. Over time, your meditation will, you'll overcome that, but you also have to work on it outside of practice. So if you read my booklet, chapter 6 talks a little bit about how to be mindful when you're not meditating, which is important.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're in Bangkok. What do you do in Bangkok?
I'm a teacher.
English?
Actually, I teach every subject, 3rd grade. I've been here for a while, since 1997.
Oh, you speak Thai?
I can speak Thai, but I don't use Thai in my job, only English.
Oh.
I teach at an international program. So. And so I'm very busy as a teacher, and I have 2 children, so I'm a busy guy. Most of the time I meditate is in the middle of the night when I wake up, or on the weekend. So I'm just beginning. I need to really try harder to make the time, but I'm glad that I found you, and it's a coincidence that I had this book for a while before I found you, and then I found you, and it turns out that this is the same, your teacher.
Yeah, I recommend, if you want, in Bangkok, you go to Wat Mahathat near, do you know the place? Thapachan. Near the
Yes,
near Sanam Luang.
I've been there.
You know. So they do meditation. Same tradition.
Yes, I have been there. I live far away from the city, probably an hour and a half. So it's difficult for me to get down there. So most of the time I do it by myself at home. But if I do have a chance to go there, I will.
Well, if you ever have time, if you ever have a vacation going to Chiang Mai, do stop in and see my teacher. Tell him I sent you.
Okay. Yes, I will. Is that near Doi Intanon?
Near Doi Intanon, yeah.
Or near Doi Intanon? Yes, I certainly will. If I get up there.
Good.
And after I am more developed in my practice, I will sign up for your one-to-one meetings.
Great.
On the Hangout. the time difference makes it a little difficult for me, but I will do what I can.
Yeah, see, maybe I'll be adding more slots soon anyway.
Nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you too.
And Robin too.
And we have Rohit. Rohit, where are you?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I'm in India.
India, no wonder it's so loud. I gotta be careful what I say, but it's true. India is a very loud country. I think everyone agrees.
It is. I
Are
won't
there
disagree
places
with
in
you.
India that are quiet? I know a really quiet place in India is up at the caves where they did the first Buddhist council, the Saptaparni caves in Rajgiri. It's called now. You know Rajgiri?
Okay. I haven't been there, but yes, I have read about the place.
Where do you live?
I live in West, very close to Mumbai, in a city called Pune.
What language do they speak there? Punjabi.
No, we in my state we speak a language called Marathi.
Sorry?
It's called Marathi.
Marathi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maharati is it called? Maharati.
Yeah, that's quite close. It's Marathi.
Marathi. Okay.
Yeah.
The
So,
two.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I have lived in the UK before. Like I lived there for 5 years, and that's how I came in contact with meditation, because traditionally I come from a Hindu background. So there is no meditation in my family, or not many people are accepting of it. But I have done quite a few Vipassana courses under a different tradition. So I haven't had any formal training with traditional Buddhism as such, but I do meditate on a regular basis, and I've come across your videos on the internet and I found them very useful. So I thought of being more engaged in the process as this happens.
Good. You're welcome.
This is nice having people join the Hangout and ask questions.
I should go though.
It is.
I've got to limit this somehow because I got all sorts of things going on. I'm going to Toronto maybe on Wednesday if I can find a ride. Hey, if anyone is in Ontario watching this and can give me a ride to Toronto Wednesday evening, I need to get a ride to Toronto so I can give a talk at Emmanuel College. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, or if it's going to happen, or if I should just say, man, that's too far away. Give me a break.
Maybe they can send someone for you.
Sorry?
Maybe they can send someone for you, Bhante.
Well, they're talking about it, but they don't really have that kind of resources. You think, if you invite someone, invite a monk, you should come pick them up. But no, most monks here drive, have their own vehicles. I could get a monk to drive me. The monks in Stony Creek, probably one of them would do me a favor and drive me, but I don't really like to ask them because, Keng Chai. Kelly? Keng Chai.
Anh trai.เข้าใจ.
Keng Chai. Keng Chai Khao.
I have shown your videos for children's meditation to my students. Colors.
Awesome.
And
hey, how does it go?
Love.
What do they think of them?
They love it very much. They're really good at it, actually. They're really a rambunctious group. I have 30 students. We're all Thai. But when I show you the videos, they seem to really catch on.
Awesome.
I'm really proud of them for that. Thank you for those videos, by the way.
Welcome. Good to hear they're being good use. I still got a whole bunch of DVDs in my room. Don't know what we're gonna do with those.
DVDs about meditation?
The kids videos. I've made a DVD out of it and a box to give out. Just need to find some kids. There's an elementary school. I wonder if I can go give them out to the kids at the elementary school across the street.
I think the teachers might appreciate that. You might introduce it to the children.
Hmm.
You might just want to check with the administrators first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little different in the West. You have to be careful.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really
That's
good. It's good night for me. Come back if you guys want to join the Hangout or anybody wants to join. Let's try and make it a point of we'll post the link and you can just join up.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks Robin and everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.